The Wizards' mean streak has made them a contender. It's also been their Achilles heel. Oakland, in the visiting locker room here at Oracle Arena, after a wild 120-117 victory for the Golden State Warriors over the Washington Wizards, John Wall sat at his locker and summed up the ethos by which his team plays. "We're a team that no matter who you are, defending champs or not, that's how we play," Wall said. "That's how we were brought up, to compete. They're the defending champs, they've been to 3 straight finals, but we're trying to get what they've got. We're not going to back down from anything they say or anything they do." I think it was a great, competitive game. Wall was right, it was a great, competitive game, full of the kind of passion and intensity normally reserved for games in April, May, and June. Part of that was a product of the fracas that took place in the final moments of the first half between Bradley Beal and Draymond Green, a tussle that was the culmination of trash-talking by both teams and resulted in both men being ejected. After a war of words came to a boil, it was the Wizards who endured a cold result. The Wizards have made a habit of getting into it with other teams, most famously on a recurring basis last season with the Boston Celtics, culminating with a feisty 7-game Eastern Conference semi-final between the two teams. But the Celtics are far from the only team to hear from the Wizards. After the Wizards' second-round exit, Beal chirped at the Eastern Conference champion Cleveland Cavaliers, saying they didn't want to see the Wizards in the conference finals. Then there was the back-and-forth this week between Marcin Gortat and the omnipresent LaVar Ball before the Wizards played the Lakers in Los Angeles on Wednesday. Washington's willingness to mix it up with other teams, and for its stars to speak their minds, is in many ways a refreshing break from the politeness between teams that typically dominates matchups around the league these days. Being willing to talk, though, only matters if one is capable of backing it up. The Wizards still are trying to find that balance. The losses they have suffered in the last 2 games have been defined either by comments made before the game or by actions taken during them. When the team wins, these moments become amusing footnotes. When they come during losses, however, they become lingering frustrations. Clearly no one was more frustrated by what happened Friday than Beal, who apologized to his teammates at halftime and then had to watch from the locker room as they let an 18-point lead over the defending champions slip away to send Washington to a second straight loss. "I told my teammates, I can't put myself in a situation like that to leave them out there to battle out against a tough team without me out there," Beal said. "Granted, we still could have won the game. But, I felt like I can't put my guys in that type of situation. It's unacceptable by me, for sure. I've got to show better leadership and better control." This is the line the Wizards have to walk. Part of the reason Washington has slowly but surely evolved into a group that is a consensus top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, and, as things stand now, is arguably second only to the Cavaliers, is because of the collective chip on their shoulders that sees them look at every team they come across as their enemy. But they cannot feel the need to meet every provocation with an equal or larger one of their own. Kelly Oubre's charge at Kelly Olynyk, and the 1-game suspension that came with it, during Game 3 that Eastern Conference semi-final could have cost the Wizards dearly. That time, they were able to survive Game 4 without him. Washington was unable to do the same with Beal watching from the locker room here Friday night. Bradley Beal and Draymond Green ejected for fighting during Wizards-Warriors game. Now it seems likely that Beal will miss Sunday's game against the Sacramento Kings due to a suspension for the incident. Internet detectives spent most of the night Friday arguing over whether Oubre may merit time on the sidelines, too, depending on one's perspective of whether he threw a punch at Warriors guard Klay Thompson, though, in both cases, all should be reminded that anyone guessing how the league office will react in such cases does so at their own peril. What is certain is that both Markieff Morris and Carrick Felix, each of whom left the bench during the proceedings, will each get suspended for a game, based on prior precedent in such matters. Setting all that aside, though, What remains is that this isn't likely to be the last time Washington get involved in a situation such as this during the course of the season. As Wall said Friday night, this is who the Wizards are. But now, in the face of real expectations for the franchise for the first time in decades, the Wizards can be one of two things: an annoyance to the league's top teams, but one that's dealt with and moved on from, or a problem that won't go away. It's up to them which of those possibilities will come to pass. Read more on the NBA. Worst birthday gift ever, Lonzo Ball and Lakers starters benched and lost to Raptors. Bulls' Nikola Mirotic reportedly wants a trade after Bobby Portis punched him in practice. DeMarcus Cousins remains an enigma, 8 years into his NBA career. NBA podcast, Jason Lloyd on the Cavs, his new book, LeBron's Future and more. Celtics Kyrie Irving was skeptical about the Bucks' court. Then the